What's good, YouTube, and double what's good to the people that are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Thank you for being subscribed. My name is Coach, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a deck list review for the Necron Dynasties Warhammer 40k Commander Precon. We do reviews for every single precon, so if there's any other precons that you haven't watched, you can watch those precon reviews on the channel. You just need to click the link below. The purpose of this video is just to look over the deck list so that you as a consumer can make an informed decision as to which precon you wish to buy. There will also be gameplay videos for these precons in the future, so if you would like to watch that, all you need to do is subscribe and hit the bell icon. So the first thing we take a look at always is the price of the commander deck. This one is $141.60, always keeping in mind that when the deck releases, that price is going to drop. However, sometimes it's a barometer for how powerful the cards inside the deck are. I know that the Abaddon Commander deck was about $270, so I would imagine that this deck is not as powerful as that one, but we will just take a look and see. So the commander for this deck is Szarekh, the Silent King. He has flying and says whenever he attacks, you mill 3 cards. You may put an artifact, creature card, or vehicle from among the cards milled this way into your hand. Okay, don't know what to think about it. We'll see what the deck does, and that'll say how powerful this card is. So the first card we have here is a Chronomancer. We can pay 1 to sacrifice another creature and draw a card. Oh, sacrifice another artifact and draw a card. And it also has Unearth. I don't know why you would want to unearth a Chronomancer. That's the thing. I mean, we are milling, so it's a good way just to sack an artifact to draw a card. Maybe sacrificing artifacts is really important in this deck. We have a Psychomancer, flying 1/1. Whenever a Psychomancer or another non-token artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield or is put into exile from the battlefield, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Okay. Triarch Praetorian, flying. When this Praetorian enters the battlefield from a graveyard, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. It's a 2/1 with Unearth. These creatures have low power. 1/1, 1/1, 2/1. This is a 3/4. Canoptic Wraith. That's a cool looking card. Can't be blocked, so it's unblockable. Then it deals damage. You may pay 3 and sacrifice it. If you do, search your library for up to 2 basic lands. Put them onto the battlefield tapped. Nice. That can go into any commander deck. This is a great card right here. Flayed 1. Enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. 4/1 with lifelink. Luminor Sazarus. Cool. Sacrifice another creature, add an amount of black mana equal to the sacrificed creature's mana value. And this is a legendary creature, so this could be a commander. That's great. You know, there's other cards that do similar things, but they only allow you to sacrifice creatures that are the color black. But that's pretty cool. That's usable. This deck has to have a way for you to consistently bring your creatures or play creatures from your graveyard, I think, because they're very weak, and it seems like this sacrifice the Lich Guard, return all legendary creature cards from your graveyard to your hand. Ooh, that's just good in this goes in the Dahada commander deck. That's such a good card. Cool. Flash. Immortal enters the battlefield with a +1 counter on it for each creature that died this turn. Okay. So it's like that vampire. Skorpek Lord. Menace. Other artifact creatures you control get +1/+0 and have menace. Canoptic Scarab Swarm. When it enters the battlefield, exile target player's graveyard. For each artifact or land card exiled this way, create a 1/1 insect artifact creature token with flying. Okay. Canoptic Tomb Sentinel. Vigilance. When Canoptic Tomb Sentinel enters the battlefield from a graveyard, exile up to 1 target non-land permanent. Okay. We have a Cryptek. Choose another target artifact creature you control. When that creature dies this turn, return to the battlefield tapped under your control. See, this is what I'm talking about. You need cards that do this. Ways to just get creatures back onto the battlefield free from Unearth, because Unearth exiles the card. This is a good card. Crypto Thrall. Oh, other artifact creatures you control have hexproof. Nice. Imhotep, the Stormlord. Whenever one or more artifact cards leave your graveyard, create 2/2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature tokens. At the beginning of combat on your turn, another target artifact creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains menace until the end of turn. I mean, 2/2/2 artifact creature tokens is pretty good. It gives you stuff to sacrifice if you want to sacrifice artifacts. Oh man, the Locust Heavy Destroyer. Locust Heavy Destroyer enters the battlefield. Each player sacrifices a creature. Okay, 4 mana. Alright. And then a flying 3/2 that for 8 mana does that again. Necron Overlord. Tap X untapped artifacts you control. Target opponent loses X life. Yeah, that's a GG card. This might be the best card that we've seen so far. Plasmancer. Enters the battlefield, search your library for a basic swamp, reveal it, put it into your hand. This, I mean, of all the things that have Unearth, this should have Unearth. Skorpek Destroyer. Death Touch. Whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, this gains first strike until the end of turn. Okay, and it has Death Touch. That's pretty cool. Unrakir the Traveler. Whenever Unrakir the Traveler attacks, you may cast an artifact spell from your hand or graveyard by paying life equal to its mana cost or mana value rather than paying its mana cost. What? Okay. That's a good card. Whenever another non-token artifact creature or vehicle enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. Okay. See the word vehicle there, and our commander says vehicle, so maybe that's why our creatures are so weak, because we're just going to be crowing things. Flash. When Necron Deathmark enters the battlefield, destroy up to 1 target creature. Target player mills 3 cards. This should have Unearth. Royal Warden. When Royal Warden enters the battlefield, create 2 tapped 2/2 black Necron artifact creature tokens. Man, that's a mouthful. Okay. Triarch Stalker. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose an opponent. Creatures attacking the last chosen player have menace. Okay. Hexmark Destroyer. Unearth. This is a 6/6 that can't be blocked except by 6 or more creature. Tombblade. Unearth. Deals combat damage to a player. That player loses life equal to the number of creatures they control unless they sacrifice a creature. Trazyn the Infinite. As long as Trazyn the Infinite is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of all artifact cards in your graveyard. Okay. That's intense. Whoa. This card looks so legendary and it's not legendary. Shard of the Void Dragon. Whenever Shard of the Void Dragon attacks, each opponent sacrifices a non-land permanent. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from the battlefield or is put into exile, put 2 +1/+1 counters on this card. A flying 7/7 for 7 that forces each opponent to sacrifice a non-land permanent. I mean, that's a cool card. it looks cool. You know, we have the Technomancer. When Technomancer enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards and then return any number of artifact creature cards with total mana value 6 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Mill 3? Oh, okay. Mill 3 and then return any number of artifact creature cards. Oh. Total mana value 6 or less. With total mana value, so I can only return as many cards as a total of mana value 6 or any number of creatures that have mana value 6 or less. Let me know in the comments because I'm kind of confused, if I'm being honest. I'm not the best player in the world. Shard of the Nightbringer, flying, 8/8. Enters the battlefield. If you cast it, target opponent loses life. Shard of the Nightbringer. When Shard of the Nightbringer enters the battlefield, if you cast it, target opponent loses half their life rounded up. You gain life equal to the life lost this way. Okay. I mean, in regular Commander, I don't really see these cards being too strong. That's 8 mana. But in a pre-con battle, that could really swing the game in your favor. Flying 8/8. If your opponent has no removal, what do they do? It's essentially just 8 damage every turn. And depending if they have 40 life, that's 20 life you lose. I gain 20 life, and then I deal 8 damage the next turn, which is huge. Darkness. Fog. That's cool. Defile. Go for the throat. Dread. Return. Mutilate. Their number is Legion. Create X-tapped 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature tokens, then you gain life equal to the number of artifacts you control. You may cast that from your graveyard. Okay. That's cool. So are there any lands in particular that are cool? Reliquary Tower. Alright, to the enchantments. The War in Heaven. 6 mana, draw 3 cards, lose 3 life. A lot of mill 3 cards. And then it says, choose up to 3 target creature cards with total mana value 8 or less in your graveyard. Return each of them to the battlefield with a Necrodermis counter on it. What in the world does that mean? Biotransference. Creatures you control are artifacts in addition to their other types. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, you lose 1 life and create a 2/2 black Necron warrior artifact creature token. Yeah, that could build up quickly. Out of the Tombs. At the beginning of your upkeep, put 2 Aeon counters on Out of the Tombs, then mill cards equal to the number of Aeon counters on it. If you would draw a card while your library has no cards in it, instead return a creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. If you can't, you lose the game. Well, yeah. Okay. Why would you want to do that? Is it milling that much? Artifacts. We have a Necron Monolith, flying, indestructible. Whenever Necron Monolith attacks, mill 3 cards. For each creature card milled this way, create a 2/2 Necron artifact creature token. I mean, it's 7 mana. Crewing 4. I mean, this deck is doing a good job of creating a bunch of 2/2s. So you're definitely going to have a lot of creatures to crew, potentially. And even in a lot of the unearth, I'm realizing you can unearth to crew. You get an ability, then you get to crew to do something. Depending on how powerful these vehicles are, it might redeem itself. Cage Sun, well, that's a good card. Just double your mana. Gilded Lotus, wow, nice. Scepter of Eternal Glory. This is a really epic card. 4 mana. Add 1 mana of any color. Add 3 mana of any one color. Activate only if you control 3 or more lands with the same name. Okay, so This is really good for a monocolored deck, so I'm imagining. It's basically a Gilded Lotus. Mystic Forge, nice. That's cool. I approve. Hedron Archive, Ghost Arc. I wish they put a Doomsday Arc inside here. That would have been cool. Whenever Ghost Arc attacks, whenever Ghost Arc becomes crewed, each artifact creature card in your graveyard gains Unearth 3. Nice. Cool. And it's only crew 2. That's only 1 token. Unstable Obelisk, Sculpting Steel, definitely. I was thinking about using that to upgrade the commander deck, but it's already in the deck. Night Scythe. Enters the battlefield, create a 2/2. Take this card out of the deck. Convergence of Dominion. As long as you control your commander, activated abilities of cards in your graveyard cost 2 less. Okay, so Unearth is cheaper. And you can mill cards. That might be good in a lot of commander decks, potentially. We have Commander Sphere, Thought Vessel, Resurrection Orb. Oh, nice. That's so cool. Whenever equipped creature dies, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Yeah, exactly. That's what we're talking about. Make copies of that with the Sculpting Steel, and then just start sacking the creatures and have them come back to the battlefield. That's literally perfect. It's super cool. Very flavorful too. Mind Stone, Mask of Memory, Endless Atlas, Cranial Plating, Arcane Signet, Wafer's Bauble, Soul Ring. And then we have a Beacon of Unrest, Living Death. That's a GG card. Nice. Nice. That's a cool card. Their name is Death. So basically a one-sided board wipe. Yeah, I mean, that was a good little ending there with the artifacts and the one-sided board wipe. I think that this precon, honestly, I'm gonna sit here and proclaim that out of all the precons that I've seen so far, this is probably the weakest one. Just my intuition is telling me that. However, you know, Their Name is Death is a card that can just end the game. Living Death is a card that can just end the game. There are cards inside here that deal damage equal to the number of artifacts you control, which can just end the game out of nowhere. So there are definitely cards inside here that tend to be powerful. Without having played the deck, I can't sit here and say that this is the one to buy. After seeing the other commander decks, I think that some of the other ones, the other two that I've reviewed so far, the Tyranids and the Abaddon commander deck, are probably, no, definitely stronger than this just from just a quick glance. However, I'll have to hold my judgments until I see this deck actually being played, or when I actually get the opportunity to play it. So I'm gonna end up giving this a 6 out of 10 as a score, with it could be, who knows, it could play like an 8. I'm not too sure. It really just depends on how synergistic everything flows when you're playing, because the reality is that this is a mono black commander deck, which makes it incredibly easy to pilot. You don't have to think about mana too much just because you only have one color that you're playing with. So I think from a beginner's perspective, although I gave this commander deck a 6, like if you're someone who's literally never played Magic the Gathering before, I would highly suggest that out of all the other ones, even if you think the other ones are more cool, those are 3-color commander decks, which could tend to be quite just mind-consuming. And when you're playing a game of Commander against 3 other people, there's so much going on that everything you can do to reduce the amount of information that you have to perceive will allow you to experience more success earlier on as you play. So I think that playing this mono black commander deck, that's the Necrons. I mean, the Necrons are so cool. You really can't go wrong. As a beginner, I would tell you, even though the other decks can be perceived as stronger out of the box, there are a lot of cards like Marionette Master that you could just place into this deck and just have like a, I play this card, I win the game type of experience. And that card is less than $2 to buy, I would imagine. So definitely for beginners, if you're a beginner, I highly recommend that you purchase this one. There's a lot of things that work together, and it'd be a really easy experience for you if you're just brand new to Magic the Gathering. Okay, so that's going to be the end of this video. Listen, if you're subscribed and you're still watching this video, here is a triple what's good. Thank you so much for being here. And if you would like a triple what's good, all you need to do is be subscribed to the channel. If you like videos like this, can like this video so I know that you like this video. And then in the future, I'm going to be play testing this on the Moxfield website. So if you would like to see that, all you need to do is hit the bell icon so that you're notified when I upload that video. Okay, so whenever I end these videos, I always say the same thing. Always remember, eat healthy, or as healthy as you can. You know, for men, I know there's a lot of men on my channel. You know, I found that I was reading a study, and it found that for men, if you eat onions actually help to increase the amount of testosterone that you have inside your body. So if you're looking to exercise, the more testosterone you have inside your system, the more muscle you're going to be able to build. And a lot of people believe that running on the treadmill is what causes people to lose weight. Random idea or thought, but knowing that everybody knows what a metabolism is, right? But your metabolism is directly related to the amount of muscle mass you have on your body. So like you can go run on the treadmill for 60 minutes and do all that work and burn all those calories. But the idea is like, if you build muscle and you build as much muscle as possible, you actually give your body the opportunity to burn calories at rest. So literally while you're doing nothing, like building a commander deck, you can end up burning more calories than you normally would have if you spent 60 minutes on a treadmill, believe it or not. So if you're looking to lose weight or get into shape, just keep in mind that if you work out, make sure that you work out for just at least 5 minutes every single day. It'll add up over time. And most importantly, you got to remember to believe in yourself and subscribe to the channel. All right. Peace out, people.